Welcome to my numerology video on the number 8. I'm Brandy Joy, and let's dive in. So, do you see the number 8 in your dreams or maybe in any visions during meditation work? Do you see the number 8 repeatedly? I know I do. Do you have the life path number 8? Or maybe you simply want to understand the universe or the esoteric meaning of numbers, numerology, right? Some people are just curious about the infinity sign and the many forms of 8 that we're going to go over. So what you're going to learn? Well, we're going to talk about how the number 8 applies to the divine science we call sacred geometry. We will also explore the spiritual meaning of the number 8 in the oracle systems like the iChing, the tarot cards, and the astrology chart, as well as the tree of life. So, where do we start? Well, let's start with the form, the shape. Let's begin with some sacred geometry. Sacred geometry shows the patterns of creation, right? So you start in sacred geometry with the little dot, right? A little dot, and then the dot, creates a circle, it expands out to a circle, and then it duplicates itself. And when it does that, we end up with two circles. This is called the Vesica Piscis. The Vesica Piscis is the duality dimension, right? So we start with unity consciousness, that's God's source, and then once it splits, once it divides, we have duality, which is our life, our world, right? We have yin-yang energy, we have masculine, feminine, everything's duality, everything's balance. And that is all about creation. So the universe is created by division, as is the human body, among every other living thing, is created by division, right? These are cells this is a cell that is, dividing itself. And you can see over here, you can see the number 8. It looks like a number 8, right? And that's representing life. So the Vesica Piscis is considered the womb of the universe. All shapes are born from this duality, this division of the one, right? And in the middle there, you can see that all shapes are born there, right? Well, you can also see a fish, right? That's what you're seeing right there, the Vesica Piscis. That's the fish, Christ consciousness, the womb, right? That is it's like the womb of our dimension, nature and everything. And that's the age we've been going through, is the Pisces age. And that's why you see this symbol everywhere. Then we have the seed and the egg of life, all right? So as we have now split into two, right? You have two circles, and now these circles keep dividing. And then you end up with 7, and that's the seed of life. And then you end up with 8 circles, and that is the egg of life. Now, the egg of life is actually 8 spheres. 8 spheres. Now, you can't see 1 in that right there because it's actually supposed to be 4, right? Like a little box right there, and then 4 behind it. So you can see 4 and then 4. Now, that creates the egg of life, right? You can see it here a little more clearly. This is Charles Gilchrist. He has a company called CG Imaging where he talks about sacred geometry. He has a wonderful YouTube channel I suggest checking out. And he does a lot of artwork and stuff. And you can see that he has the 8 spheres here. This is a cube of spheres. And that right there creates life. You can see the actual cell. That's a human cell right there on the right. That's 8 spheres. So looking a little closer, you can see life development. You see the 2-cell stage where it divided. You have the 8, right? And then it goes to the 4-cell, and then it jumps to the 8-cell. And then this is within the first few hours of something being created, right? And then you can see that it becomes like a little blob, right? From the 8-cell stage, it jumps into this like little blob where it starts forming, right? So this is the first stages of life. And also, the egg of life is also represented in creation, but also in musical scales. So everything in life is sound, right? So the egg of life represents the diatonic scale. You can see that the scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again, right? So 8 is like a copy of the original beginning, okay? So it's like it starts over again. All right, so creation also has 7 levels or densities. The 8th density forming the first density of the next octave of experience, just as the 8th note of a musical scale begins a new octave. And that comes from the Law of One series, which is a channeling from some people back in the early 1980s that were talking about the universe and the whole experience of life and the evolution of life and the different parallel universes and different things like that. So the egg of life is the 8 spheres, and that represents many different things that have to do with 8. Everything from the diatonic scale to the densities in our universe and creation. So the 8 densities of creation, just to show you a little bit about what this is, the 8 densities, they start with physical manifestation. That's biological, right? That's the first, sprouting of things in life here in the world. And then we have the second density is vegetation and animal kingdom. That's like soul pool development. So that would be the soul pool of maybe cats and dogs and, and lions and tigers and bears and those soul group consciousnesses, right? And then the third density is self-awareness, which is human self-awareness and just animals becoming self-aware. And the choice of service to self or service to others is made by the entities at this level. And then we have the fourth. The fourth density is the social memory complex. The path is then set in motion, right, for the social memory complex. So we all actually have decided now as entities, are we all going to move towards service to self, or are we going to move towards service to others? And so that soul evolution creates a complex amongst all of us, that we all have the same way of moving forward, the same path. Right? And then the fifth density is the density of light. And this is where we go between incarnations, right? So this is, some people call this, heaven or hell, right? This is just the place that your soul goes when it leaves the body, right? That's the density of light. And then you have the density of unity, which is the angelic realm, because they are service to others. They're a higher dimension frequency. And then you have the 7th, which is all is one, the source. And then you start a new infinity at the number 8. So the 8th density is really creation of a new density, a new infinity, a new creation. I know this is a little complex, but I'm not going to dive into this too deep today. I just want to kind of show you as an overview certain things about the number 8. So if you have questions, please let me know. You're welcome to ask me anything. I love to explore this stuff. So, all right. The flower of life is a very important part of our world. It's all about creation, right? And when you keep getting these concentric circles going and going in infinity, right, you create and create. It creates a life. And so you see this flower of life. You see this symbol all over the world. You see it in all of the ancient places where they have like stuff that we don't even know how they made these artifacts and, etched things with certain things back in the day. Almost look like they were lasered, right? And these are symbols of flower of life. These are symbols of sacred geometry and creation. And these circles, concentric circles, just can go on for infinity. It's just circle, 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 circle. That's all they are. And those circles then create angles. You get angles out of that. And so it's really interesting. You can see the tree of life within this form. You can see so many different things about our creation within this one form. So the prime activity in life is movement. Movement started everything. Okay? Once something moves, it's set in motion. And movement actually creates sound, right? And sound creates light. So that is represented, that movement, that infinite movement is represented by this 8 that is balanced, this 8 that is on its side. It's like stability, movement that just keeps moving and it's stable, right? And that is about creation, and it's about how creation is infinite. It just keeps starting over and again, over and again, over and again through the densities. So two intersecting forces create what we call a vortex. Now, if two forces, right, they cross each other. Okay, you have maybe a positive and a negative force, and they cross each other. They create a vortex. They draw things to them. It becomes like magnetic. It pulls things in. And when it pulls things in, it creates life. Because really we're all vortexes. We're all like, the physical world is this vortex. It's like gravity and everything, right? It pulls, right? We pull things to us. We attract things. We're like magnets. We're very magnetic. We have this like electricity about us. It's electric and magnetic. And so this energy, then it pulls together and it creates density. Matter is just an illusion. Space set in motion flows forever, right? So once something starts moving, it just keeps moving. What's going to stop it? Right? So that brings us to the atom, right? Remember, the law of opposing forces produces stability. And so you can see here we have the electrons on the outside of the atom swinging around. And then on the inside, we have protons and neutrons. Okay, so the electrons are yin energy. They are magnetic energy. And then on the inside, the protons are that light energy, that yang energy, that masculine electrical energy. And so they create a vortex. And the neutrons are neutral energy. Some people even call this like the God energy. It's just neutral, the source energy. Because once it goes out in yin yang, you have the electrical and the magnetic, right? And that's duality. And that's how we create the vortex. And so everything's made of these atoms, right? So these are opposing forces and they create stability. And the really cool thing about this form, I'm going to show you here in a minute. All right, so this is the matrix of reality. Matter is actually a mirage. And everything is frequency. Everything is movement. Everything is sound. Right? Everything are these energy vortexes. That's all they are. So if you amplify a frequency, a sound, a frequency, the structure of matter actually changes. So think about an opera singer or somebody that really knows how to scream really well, raise their pitch, right? If you get it high enough, loud enough, it actually changes and breaks the glass, right? So 8 is magic. 8 is alchemy. 8 is transformation. 8 is change, right? So you can see the number 8 and all of these little esoteric things that we're going to talk about coming up here. But it's all about transformation and change when it comes to the number 8. But the only constant in life is change. And that is what that represents. The infinity symbol is the only constant, is that things keep moving and things keep changing, right? So here we have these shapes, right? They look different, but they're actually all the same. They're all the same shape. So they all have the same frequency, right? Now, if you look up here at the hexagram, the 6-pointed star, look at it. It's actually also represented in the atom. The atom is the 6-pointed star. So the hexagram sits within the hexagon. So if I were to draw lines around either of those, the atom or the star, if I drew lines around them, I want you to look down there at the bottom, you see the cube? That right there is actually the outside of the 6-pointed star. If you look at it, if you draw a line from the top over to the one corner, right, and then down on the side, look over here at the cube, and you see those lines? That cube is on the outside of the six-pointed star and or the atom. So the hexagram sits within the hexagon. So the cube down there is the hexagon. The hexagram, the six-pointed star, and the hexagon is a cube. A cube has 8 corners. Everything in life is represented by the cube, its physical manifestation. So look at the egg of life above the cube, right? Remember, this is 8 spheres, 4 and 4. And turned at the angle that I have it in, you can see that it's the hexagram. But it's made with 8 spheres, just like the cube has 8 corners. Now you see how they all tie together, right? So when you see these symbols, know that they are representing 2 different numbers, 6 and 8. This right here, same frequency, 8 corners on the cube. And if you fold out the cube, you have the cross. Interesting, right? So the number 8 represents the connection of the all. It is the symbol of infinite consciousness and the soul evolution back to oneness. It's connection. That is the number 8. And that is why it's so important. The 8th chakra is called the star, and that sits way above your head up there. It's also called the seat of the soul. It's connected to infinite energy, or God source energy, as a lot of people like to call it. Well, every man and every woman is a star, as Aleister Crowley says, and that is the seat of the soul. And that is your connection to the divine. Right. I also wanted to show you this, a little chart. You can see the actual chakras here. You start at the bottom, the base, you have the root red, but you can also see the notes on the diatonic scale, right? So it's pretty cool. The second you going up there, the orange sacral, you got the orange color, you have the note D, and it moves up, solar is E. The 4th is the heart, and that's F. The throat is G, that's blue. The 6th chakra is the 3rd eye, and the note is A, and that's indigo. And then finally you have the 7th chakra, which is the one, this is as far as we go when we do our cleansing and stuff, the crown chakra, and that's violet. And now we start over again at the 8th chakra, right? That is like a new beginning. And that's up there, it starts with C. And that is our true area of connection to source energy. So how to use the number 8 in your personal development. We're going to talk about quite a few things here. We're going to talk about the tarot, the iChing, the astrology, dreams or visions, as well as some other stuff here. Manifesting, for example. This right here is the tarot card number 8 in the major arcana. This is a card of fate and destiny. This is a card that is so important in your life development. And this comes from my website, vibetarot.com, where I write about the tarot cards and stuff. I'm almost done with that website. It's actually up, but I haven't finished the whole library of cards, writing them all up yet. So if you go to it, you'll see like half of them done, I think it is. This is the strength card. The strength card denotes the inner strength of a person, as opposed to the outer strength displayed by the chariot, which comes before this card. So the lion is subdued by the kind maiden's gentle touch. You can see that she's holding his face there and petting him. This card requires that you fulfill your sacred contract that is unfolding right now if you get this card. This sacred contract could be between you and another person, or an internal agreement within the many parts of your own self. Either way, you are evolving spiritually with internal strength and fortitude. So turn your thoughts away from the battle at hand and instead focus on the bigger lesson and experience. Turn your attention to the divine and away from the mundane. Your true strength is within God, not in the ego or self-confidence in the ordinary sense. So kindness and service to others should never be a burden. It is a blessing of true inner strength of divine unconditional love. The mountain in the back is symbolic of our trials and tribulations in our spiritual journey. So that is the 8th card, and you can see the infinity sign up above her head there, the number 8. And that's a balanced number 8. And she actually represents the Virgo, the Virgin, and Libra energy. This is a card that combines those two, Virgo and Libra as well as the Leo energy. Has different combination of cards, and it's about balance, or of characters, I should say. All right, and then in the tarot deck, in the Major Arcana, another big card of your destiny and fate is the card of the Star, and this is 17. If you add 1 and 7, you get 8. So this is actually a higher octave of the number 8 of the Strength card. This is the higher octave of your soul development. So the Star is the symbol of hope and renewal. This is a very spiritual card of soul evolution. The woman is both grounded but also intuitive. So you can see that her legs are on the earth and in the water at the same time. So she nourishes the earth, and you can see the water separates into 5 different streams there, representing the 5 senses here on the physical earth plane. But then she also pours water into the pond, and it ripples outward in circles, showing the connection of all things spiritually. Remember those circles, right? They'll keep going infinitely. So the Star follows the Tower card. This suggests that you have endured some intense challenges, and now your soul is open to healing and transformation. So again, major transformation. The 7 small stars represent the 7 primary chakras that connect your spiritual body to your physical body. The large star is your aura. That's the 8th, right? This is a good time to cleanse and purify your mental, emotional, and physical bodies. Your soul is ready to evolve to a higher level. Then we have the iChing, if we have any fans in here of the iChing. If not, I love the iChing. It's absolutely wonderful. It's all about balance of yin-yang energy. So you throw iChing divination sticks or coins to find out if things are imbalanced about a situation. All right, so this is Hexagram 8. Hexagram 8, I have been getting 8s in every divination that I've been doing recently, past couple months. So Hexagram 8 is about unity and holding together. It implies good fortune. So those whose hearts are troubled assemble. So that means that things are going to come together as they're supposed to, and things are in balance. Again, balance, again, connection, right? That's what 8 is. Now, how about in astrology? This is one of my favorite subjects, right? The 3 symbols of Scorpio here. You can see that I have the scorpion, the snake, and the phoenix. The Scorpio is the 8th sign. It's transformation through deep connection. So the 3 symbols of Scorpio represent the evolution of the incarnating soul. At first, the soul is like the scorpion, living in fear and self-protection. The Scorpio hides in dark corners, ready to strike if threatened. It's isolated, right? It's aggressive. It's in the dark. Right? And then we have the snake. This is the next level for the soul. The snake, it feels vibrations of the earth. Right? It keeps a watchful eye out for protection, just like the scorpion. So it's still lower level, and it's ready to strike out, and it's always watching its back. But it does shed its skin for renewal, and it does tap into the vibrations. It does feel and know when something is coming. And then we have the phoenix. The phoenix is the ultimate manifestation of the soul, to find emotional balance through spiritual transformation. Right? The phoenix dies from its own flames and reincarnates and renews itself through the flame of spirit. Now, the phoenix has the courage to enter its own fire and be transformed completely. The Scorpio is the ultimate ascension sign, and to be honest, I don't believe that the phoenix is the ultimate bird or ultimate animal symbol of Scorpio. To me, it's the spiritual dove. It's the white dove that you see in the tarot deck, you see in a lot of symbols, and it's like spirit. To me, the phoenix is the one that comes right before the dove. And then the dove is like the ultimate like connection to God's source. All right, it's pure, it's divine. So, Scorpio is the ultimate ascension sign. It's about connecting and merging with spirit. This is why the sign Scorpio in the 8th house of the zodiac represent the Tantrika. I am actually a Tantrika. Anybody that practices Tantric yoga, ascension work, also connecting with others, that is the Tantrika. And that's actually represented by the 8th sign, the Scorpio. Right. So the 8th house in astrology represents the house of Scorpio. And it's ruled by the planet Pluto. Now, in astrology, there are 12 signs and 12 houses. The signs represent personality traits and temperament, while the 12 houses represent areas in your life journey. All right, now if you're looking here at what I'm showing you, you can see this circle, right? The circle starts over here where it says AC on the left side. You can see a little moon symbol in there. That right there is the first house. And I know it's weird that it starts there, but that's the first house. And then it swings down and around, okay? So that first house where my moon is, that's my first house. And then it swings down to second house. And let me just go over a few of these with you to give you an example. So for instance, the second house represents your money, your self-worth, your personal possessions. All right, that's your house of money and personal possessions. And the 5th house, if you go over, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 5th house there represents your ability to self-express and create things in life. So even creating children, for instance, is part of that house. That's your house of creation and self-expression. And then you swing up, you go 6 and then 7, right? Your 7th house represents your close partners, like your spouse, people you marry, or business partners. And then if you move up from there, we have the 8th house. The 8th house represents connections to other people and connection to spirit. Because really, if you can connect to others, you're connecting to spirit or God energy. So let's talk about this 8th house. Everyone has every house in their astrology chart. So don't get confused and think, well, I don't have one of those charts, or I don't have one of those. Everybody has every house, okay? So yes, you have an 8th house. Everyone has a sign attached to each house. And you possibly have planets that sit in those houses. Well, you do, but in each house, right? So let's use mine as an example. This is my astrology chart. This is my house up here, the 8th house of intimacy. It's the house of sex, the house of death, and the house of soulmates, right? And then we have Pluto, which actually rules the 8th house. And Pluto symbolizes your soul. So the sign that your Pluto sits in is your generational vibration. So Pluto, it doesn't change signs for a long time. So if you have the sign of, say, of Scorpio, or let's say you have the Libra, right? I have Pluto in Libra. So if you have Pluto in Libra, then everybody that's born, within your years of that generation are all going to be Libra Pluto, right? So all of my high school friends, they're all Pluto Libra. Right. So in my case, you can see it sits in the 9th house up there. So my soul actually has been focusing on understanding life in a metaphysical or religious context, because the 9th house is metaphysics and religion and higher education. It's the house of philosophy, higher education. And so it's a house of growth and seeing the bigger picture, right? So my Pluto is sitting in my 9th house, and that's individual to me, right? Now, the sign, Libra, that's my generational vibration. However, whatever house it sits in, it's going to change for everybody all the time. Right? So my house is the 9th house. That's where my soul is. Now, going back to the 8th house, you can see that I have Saturn sitting there. And Saturn, wherever it's at in your chart, it actually puts on the brakes. So I have Saturn in my 8th house, so it puts on the brakes. I'm not able to rely on other people. I have to rely on myself this lifetime. It's something where intimacy and things like that are always going to be something I'm learning about. So it's a hard area, a challenging area, I should say, for my life. Right? My partners tend to have weird issues. My intimate partners and stuff have intimacy issues. So this is something to explore in your own chart, to look at your 8th house, to understand a little bit about your soulmates, understand about your own intimacy, what you're learning. Sexuality and death are important here. And also look at where your Pluto's at. Whatever house will tell you where your soul's at and what it's really focused on in this lifetime. All right, so that's a little bit about astrology and Scorpio and the 8th house and the 8th, symbolized planet, Pluto. It's your soul. All right. Dreams and visions, right? If you see the number 8 in dreams or in your visions, what I always say is look to the angel numbers, right? Angel numbers they come from your angels. They come from your guides, these numbers. And they can symbolize it a good omen, They could say luck. Hey, you're having some luck. Some things are turning up for you. You have like a Jupiter influence right here, right now. It could be that you have the psychic gift. It could be that you have the strength to help heal others. And it could be a good omen for relationships with you. Because remember, 8 is about connection. It's about relationships. It's about, connection, that 8th house. All right. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk to you about is manifesting with Magick. Okay. And the reason I want to talk to you about manifesting with Magick is because the number 8 is the number of magic. This is the tree of life. Don't get overwhelmed here. I'm not going to go too much into this, but the tree of life is a symbolic representation of creation. So it includes sacred geometry, astrology, tarot, and numerology. It's a diagram of creation that shows God at the top there, going down into matter and creating. And then it shows your evolution coming from matter back up to God's source, ascension. So it also represents the planes of existence, right? We have there at the top, we have the divine plane, and then we have the soul plane, soul groups and stuff on the other side. And then down here we have your psyche or personality. And then at the bottom you have the physical body. So this you can look at this and see the chakra system as well. I won't go into that, but if you place a person here, you can see their chakra system. And it shows you how to evolve back to spirit. It shows the path of ascension. So we're only going to look at the bottom tree, though, the bottom of the tree. This bottom area down here, the physical body, the psyche, this area represents you. It represents your personality in the earth plane. The number 7 and 8, right there, you can see in psyche. 7 and 8 are in the astral plane. That is your emotional body and your mental body. The logic and emotion, right? That's your emotional body and your mental body. And those are in the astral plane. So let's look a little closer. 8 right there is intellect, okay? 8 and 9 are the astral plane of existence and include your mental and your emotional bodies. So the 9th circle down there represents the etheric body. In the final 10th circle at the very bottom represents your physical body. Each line coming from the circles is a path represented by a tarot card. So it shows you the path. If you understand the tarot card, you'll understand the path, right? So the path moving from 8, which is the intellect, Mercury energy, thought and perception, over to 9, the etheric body, is the path of the Sun tarot card. You can use this path to transform your reality. With a disciplined and powerful mind, you can manifest your reality. The true alchemist or magician realizes that transformation happens through transformation of the self, right? The path of the Sun there is the awakening by the use of your mind. Mercury represents thought and perception, and using it to transform yourself and awaken yourself brings you to your truest self. Now, in high magic, something I study, the number 8 there is the sphere of magic. It's where we use the mind to do etheric manipulations. An important thing to understand about manifestation is that spirit does not work directly upon matter. It has to go through these little paths and these spheres, right? So spirit works through the mind, 8, or the mental body. And the mind works through the etheric body. So the ether is the framework of matter. It is the vehicle of the life force, and it can be manipulated within the limits of its nature. It's like electricity, right? That's your energy body. If you can manipulate the energy, the ether, that manipulates matter. So Yesod down here, number 9, represents the ether or the machinery of the universe. It represents our etheric double, right? Your etheric double is your spirit body. And it's a magnetic force that attracts things of a like frequency. You've heard of the law of attraction, right? Well, here we go. So it is here on this path that we shift our frequency to change our realities. You have to first shift the mind before you can shift the etheric. The key is to take control of the mind and to then take control of the etheric body, which in turn controls the physical body. This is true psychology and true magic. So thank you for joining me. I'm Brandy Joy. You can visit me at brandyjoy.com. You can also go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, my YouTube, or my Periscope. My name is usually under Brandy Joy TV, but sometimes it's under Periscope there, Brandy Joy. All right. So thank you again for joining me, and let me know if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed my video on the number 8. Bye for now.